kind of straddling those fences. Um, but after the band broke up, I don't remember who had the idea. I want to say it was my parents, because I don't think of myself as like particularly entrepreneurial, but it was kind of simple. There was there's a store in St. John in one of the shopping centers called Bambula, and they had a steel, like a little pan in there, right?
Mm.
It's a shop that sells, I mean, very nice things, yeah, clothing and jewelry and musical instruments from kind of all over. There's a little bit of a West African vibe. Um, but for whatever reason, I just asked the store and I said, hey, if can I just like play outside the store after school? I'll play the pan that you're selling, and then hopefully that will attract some customers and maybe somebody will want to buy the pan, right? So I'm like trying to
Mm.
sell the pan for them, right?
Right.
By demonstration.
And get a commission.
Yeah, no. I wish. You see, I told you I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was doing it for a flat hourly rate, with no agreed upon hours. So I could I could just kind of show up and play for a couple hours on a Tuesday and then take off, and go do something else. And it
Okay.
was, it was cool because it was, again, a way of easing into the workforce, and also playing music in front of people by myself.
Right.
Um, and so I guess I was 14 or 15, and I was doing that, and then another guy that owns another store that also owns some villas, right? Some rental properties.
Mm.
They started saying, oh, well, I have some guests coming in, some VIP guests. Would you play for dinner for them?
Mm.
And then that kind of led to the next gig, to the next gig, and then eventually um Carly Powell, who had a kind of a standing every night gig at Canil Bay at the hotels,
Mm.
um, hired me to play duet essentially with him.
Okay.
And man, it was no, I think I don't remember many rehearsals. I don't remember any rehearsals actually for me. Um, but and it was, I wasn't reading. Like I never read music,
Mm.
right? Because we were taught everything by rote. So I was doing everything by rote and by ear. Um, but I understood notation because I took piano lessons. But with Carly's gig, I would just show up and he would play songs, and I didn't know the melody. So at the melodies to a lot of these songs, he would start playing. He would play the melody and play left hand bass,
Mm.
and then I would solo.
On all the songs.
Yeah, on all the songs, I would solo, and then he would play the melody, and we would go out, right? And it was all, some of it was just easy kind of calypso things that I knew, right?
Mm.
Yellowbird and Jamaica Farewell, and the like tourist greatest hits. Um, but like he would pull out just songs that he liked to play. Like I learned to play Lament by J.J. Johnson. I learned
Hmm.
to play that on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song, man. He used to play it as a bossa. And I mean, he never told me the name of the song. You just like start playing it. And eventually, after a few months of doing that every day,
Hmm.
I learned the tunes. Right.
Right.
So I just learned his whole book by ear from memory, um, by playing together like that all the time. But it was such a gracious, like a gracious way of letting me um become a musician, and he paid me, he paid
Yeah.
me like a musician.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's,
man.
it says something for being, for growing up in a environment like this, for that to happen, for that type of, nurturing to
Yeah,
foster in a community like this, because that doesn't happen everywhere.
absolutely not.
I have a
And
similar story. It's not my show. It's not my. I'm not the guest tonight, but I know what you're talking about, and
yeah,
I think it's really great.
there's also there's also something about the instrument itself, because it's like, certainly not every community will be that embracing, but
Mhm.
I can't imagine that if I was playing like a saxophone or a violin, nobody would want to hear me just like playing garbage on the saxophone. Bad intonation, no armature or like,
Right,
violin. Pan
right.
is one of those instruments that once you play it, it has a sound, and
Mm,
the sound fits the environment that these
right.
people are trying to
And
create.
back then, I mean, even now, it's like the newest instrument in
Yeah.
the instrument world is one of the newest instruments to be created in the last
Hmm.
50 years, 60, 70 years.
Hmm.
So it's a novelty. And
Right.
back then, when you were doing that, I'm sure everybody was like, "Wow, what is that?" And
Yeah.
once the history of it, like even at Pinecrest, I was like, "This used to be an oil drum," and I don't know if you saw any of the posts after it. One of the lady that introduced us, she's like, "Oh, and Mr. Provost played the oil drum."
Oh Lord.
She actually said you were playing an oil drum.
Yeah.
I was being facetious on the
Right.
stage. I was saying, "Oh yeah," and he's playing an instrument that used to be an oil drum, but it was transformed into this, and that's what people got. Is it was literally an oil drum. So
Yeah.
there's a novelty that comes with the instrument that the average person wants, even if they get a little glimpse of the history coming from Trinidad, is like,
Right.
"Wow, this used to be a barrel of oil,"
Mm-hmm.
and what you do with it is so it's so incredible. Not too many musicians even get to that level, and just to do that on the pan is really incredible. So, like I said, man, being able to foster that foundation, because I remember when I met you in Virginia, because I knew of you, and I would come home and different people say, "You got to meet Provost, you got to meet Provost," and then we connected in Virginia, and then you joined the band and all of those good things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's you could tell a story, man. It's a funny story because I think that says something about the fact that like people are like, hey, you have to meet Provost, you got to meet Provost, you have to hit his cat, right? But then like when we met, you were still kind of like, you almost like you're right on the precipice or something, but it's not quite. And it's absolutely true, man. Like when I go back through
Mhm.
the memory banks and think about my development, I mean, there was something that was kind of steady that was happening. But right around the time that I met you, I had also started studying with Charlie Banakas.
Right.
And it just happened, man, that I met you and like we did that first gig that I will never forget, at Raycole. and and there was, there was certainly some exponential growth that happened after that,
But,
and a lot
yeah,
of it is because of
yeah,
playing with you all and meeting Ron and
yeah. Yeah,
um
Reichel happened, and then we stayed in touch, and then you came to New York.
mhm.
I remember we played Dizzy's, and then shortly after Dizzy's, like the next time we played Dizzy's, we got we were rehearsing, and you didn't really, in rehearsal, you like, okay, let me just figure out the music. But when we got on stage and you started to play, we all looked around like, what? It was like
Mhm.
a whole nother level. It was a
Yeah,
whole other, and sometimes that's what's needed. I mean, we all have growth spurts, and
yeah.
I was just saying to Mel before the show, man. I mean, out of all of us that have left the Virgin Islands, I can say this with confidence. From a education, technical theory foundation. Airwise, you have ears bigger than elephants, and
Oh man, well,
yeah, but again, it stems from your upbringing, and again, when we met, it was there. It was things that, we all listen, man. We all go through that. We all go
yeah,
through
for sure.
gigs when people say, "Hey, man, you sound great, but you need to work in this. I'll see you in a year."
Yeah, yeah.
And I came.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially for you, I I had been living in Pittsburgh before you met me. Um, I was living in Pittsburgh for about 4 years, and there I had a very similar experience with Carly's cousin, a great bass player named Arnold Stagger, right?
Mhm.
Arnold moved from St. John to New York and used to play with Sparrow, right?
Okay.
So serious cat. But he had a like a fusion, kind of a fusionish jazz, kind of steps ahead type of band, right?
Mhm.
And I remember the first time I heard that band play, man, in Pittsburgh. I was 18, and that was the first time I ever heard a band play original compositions. Like
Okay.
as an 18-year-old, you
Right.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
because everything was tunes.
Yeah, because everything other than that was just like standards or covers, right? And I was sitting down, I sat in the Crawford Grill, man, in on the hill in Pittsburgh, and listened to this band play La Casa de Fiesta, like this, like play these original compositions is burning.
Our new standard.
Yeah, our new standard. And I was just like, man, this is incredible. And that was the first little growth spurt of just like, okay, well, let me try to figure out what's going on here, because this is definitely not the hotel.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is a club, so the vibe is quite different, and this is a real working band. We were on tour, man. We used to do these drive-in tours in a van. We went to Europe, and it was a serious thing. But one of the things that I didn't have to do was like really prepare a book. You know what I'm saying? So like that's another thing. I kind of eased my way into that situation. Like sat in on a few gigs, kind of learned the tunes, and then. But when you and I met, you sent me the book, and you were like, "Here's the book." and you came to the house, and you were like, "All right, well, let's check this one out." And I started playing it, and you were like, "Yeah, well, that's cool, but that's not the right key." And that's the key.
You was like, "That's what's up." I was like,
"That's the key on the record."
I remember that conversation very well.
Yeah. So really working with you, man, was one of the first times that I had to.
Like, yeah, I remember that conversation very well. Yeah. But it listen, man, but it was a learning experience both on both ends, because we all the band members like, yeah, Vic is it. It was like, it's just, we just gotta, how do we support? So I don't know if you realize it, but we all kind of like rallied, like, okay, we're gonna make this happen. Yeah. And it did happen on a whole nother level. And I mean, fast forward, 15 years is like, wow. I mean, we send tunes out and we don't even think about it. We just show up and play. So that's the level that we were all trying to get to. And, we have achieved it. Ruben, Ron, Rashawn is doing this thing. Melvin comes in and, cover. And if he can't do, we got other people. And if Ruben can't do, we got Kenny Davis and, and Carlton. And it was a level of proficiency that we all have been striving for. Mainly, and I'm going to say this because coming from the Virgin Islands, coming from our part of the diaspora, coming from this small territory, this little dot, or these little dots, produce what we produce I think is really great. And that's the one thing, like Ron went to Interlaken, I went to Interlaken, and every time we would talk, we would try to bring that information back. Right. And bring that, that level of commitment and pride in what we do. Yeah. And like I said, you've taken it to a whole nother level. So which is great, which is great. And on the steel pan, and a very unique instrument also. So that's what I'm really excited about. Every time we get a chance to play, I'm just sitting back listening to, like, I was talking to Rob at Pinecrest last weekend, and I said, Rob, we need to talk about the sound. I said, because, when you do this, and we talk about different things. He said, yeah, but I got to deal with the pan. And I said, well, is it cool if you could bring the horns of Victor closer? He said, no, because when Vic starts to growl on that pan, I need that space. And I was like, yeah, he does that. and just those nuances that exist 10 years ago. Right. And that existed now, just like Ron may growl on the sax. So it makes a whole, well, it's just, it's just a whole nother sound, and
it's a different vocabulary, man. It's a vocabulary that I've been chasing, for 20 years, really.
It's happening, and it's happening. That's all I'm saying. It's happening. And like I said, man, just coming from this part of the world, I'm just happy to be part of the process and witness it, because I can say, yeah, man, I know this guy. I know this guy. So yeah, man. So I mean, we haven't talked about you getting to leaving Virginia and getting to DC and all that, but we got to jump into some music.
Yeah, let's listen to some music, man, before we lose people.
After all, it's a music and talk show, so we got to get into some music.
We did the talk part first.
Yeah. So this first composition that we have up is a song you wrote for your daughter entitled "Bright Eyes," and share with our audience the concept behind that tune.
Yeah, I mean, it's the title track to this record that I put out in 2016. And the first track is a tune that I wrote for my daughter. She was, when she was born, she had these, she had these cat eyes, man, gray blue eyes. My wife's grandmother had gray eyes. My mother has blue eyes, and neither my wife or I have anything that resembles that. So here's this baby with these beautiful bright blue eyes, man. And yeah, this tune just kind of almost effortlessly came out, and it's on the record Bright Eyes. It's the title track to the record Bright Eyes, which is out on the Sunnyside record label on Paquito de Rivera's imprint, Paquito Records. And this features my good friend and saxophonist Ted Baker, and also the incredible vibraphonist Joe Locke. I saw both of them a couple of days ago at the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival. We hung out as a really nice little reunion. And then it also features Alex Brown and Alex Brown on piano, Zach Brown on bass, Billy Williams on drums, and John Lee on guitar.
Bright Eyes. Bright Eyes by Victor Prolvost. You can see the blue in her eyes also.
Yeah. Yeah, that picture, you sure can.
Yes, yes, yes. Keeping you busy, huh? She's keeping you busy.
Very much.
That's good. That's good. Well, you know, as things progress, you can always play that song for her and say, hey, you know.
Yeah, well, she figured out, you know, she'll be 10 in April, and she was 2 in that picture, maybe not even 2. Just over a year old, and she'll be 10 in April, and she figured out that because of me, she's on Google.
Okay.
So she could share that with her 4th grade class. She's a celebrity.
There you go. It's a nice conversational piece.
Yeah, man.
But it's a great song. It's what I love about it is this odd meter. You say it in 6 or you say it in the 12? Which one?
I mean, I think I wrote it actually in 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's in 3 with a bunch of like 4/3 types.
Because the root is
but when we get to the like the bridge,
yeah,
when we get to the bridge, it's more like that part is definitely written in 12.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I was saying 12, because I was like, okay, once you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, but it was a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
yeah, for sure.
You know, it's kind of like
it's all of them.
It's all of the above. Yeah, it's higher math.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a beautiful thing, and I have to commend you on your compositional skills, because every time you bring a song to the table, we all like. I know you say this about me too, but I always say this about you. It's like, okay, what did he bring now? Because I gotta go figure this out. I mean, even Mazuka. I mean, that was a tune as simple as it is, bro. That tune kicked my butt just to play that simple.
Yeah. I mean, it's deceptive. You know, simple doesn't mean easy.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Simple doesn't mean easy, man. And especially like the music of the Antilles, like the music of the Caribbean, it sounds straightforward, but it's all, you know, it's all polyrhythmic, man. So there's no, it's like trying to find the proper perspective of a transparent cube. You can look at it any number of ways, and it's the same.
Definitely, and it says something. Again, I'm going to take it back to the diaspora. It says something about musicians that come from the Caribbean, from the Afro-Caribbean diaspora, because I've said this on other shows. We grew up listening to, I'm going to start with Zouk.
Yeah, for sure.
Reggae, quail bass, soca, calypso, Brazilian, bossa nova, samba. We grew up listening to all those things. We haven't even started talking about what's happening in America.
Right.
We can get to America, we have this whole sound and rhythmical palette that's sitting in front of us.
Yeah.
So we journey across the water and go to America. Now we have funk, R&B, hip hop, disco, you know, rock and roll, rock music, jazz, blues.
Yeah.
So it lends to a whole nother thing. It lends to a whole nother thing. So and I'm enjoying it, because doing this show, having a guest like you on that is so versed in what you present, it really, how should I say, it really kind of exude the whole essence of what the Caribbean diaspora musically is about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so and your compositional skills is beautiful.
Man.
So I want to keep going on this musical voice. So we have
Magharibi. Yeah. So this is a tune that I wrote. It's a song that is composed for a combined steel band and big band. And I wrote it as part of a project with a group called Afro Bop Alliance. but that was run by the great drummer Joe McCarthy, who lives in New York now and has the New York Afro-Bop Alliance Band. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say about this one other than, again, I don't know, is it in 12 or 6 or 4? There's a little bit of everything, man. It starts in West Africa and ends up in Cuba, and it's gonna feature Tim Stanley on a burning kind of trumpet solo.
Okay.
Afro-Bop Alliance Big Band.
Okay. Maghribi. Magribi. That's a great song. I like that transition from the 6/8 to the Afro-Cuban.
Yeah, yeah. Nope, there's no piano player on the gig, so
I noticed that.
yeah, it's just
You have
pans.
three pan players, you and with
No, there
those.
was four. There was four. Yeah, there was four pan players. But yeah,
Or was that a double tenor or a double second?
yeah, there was double seconds, triple guitar, and myself. Yeah.
Great.
What's next? What's the next song?
Interesting. That was very interesting. I like that arrangement. Pinwheel is the next song.
Yeah, so this is just a short little clip, man. I've been so lucky to be able to go back to St. John and play this concert just about every spring for like the last 8 years now. So this is a short clip of my band at the St. John School of the Arts. And to be honest, I don't remember exactly all who was in the band. I think this is Alex Brown on piano, Zach Brown on bass, Ludwig Ludwig Afonso on drums, and Chico Pinero, the great Chico Pinero, on guitar. So this is Pinwheel. Yeah, just some good old fashioned shredding, man. Some shredding.
Yes.
That's
So-
that's the composition that's going to be on an upcoming project that Alex Brown and I have been working on for quite some time. That we're very excited about. It's gonna it features a bunch of great players, man, incredible drummers and rhythm sections, and it features Ruben Rogers on bass and Ludwig Afonso on drums, Eric Dube on drums, Mark Walker on drums. It features Sean Jones on trumpet, Warren Wolf on marimba, and Jorge Glem on the quattro.
You have a name for the project as yet?
Not yet.
And what's the ETA of the release?
The ETA is imminent. It's this year. It's this year.
Okay, great. Well, I know you always have something up your sleeve, so that's going to be another great project looking forward to. So I'm excited about that. That's a great thing. So we have another song here. Homenaje.
Homenaje, yeah. This is homenaje means homage, man, and this is an homage to to one of the most to one of the groups that's most influential to my development as a musician and as a panist, especially. There's a group called the Caribbean Jazz Project. It started putting out records in the mid '90s, and it was led by Paquito de Rivera, Andy Norell, the steel panist, and Dave Samuels, the vibraphonist. And it was the first time that I had heard like calypso jazz, this kind of like the music, because up until then it's like Latin jazz. Okay, that's cool, all of that's beautiful, Dizzy and all of the, Paquito stuff, but that was the first time that I heard like soca jazz, calypso jazz, zouk jazz, bomba jazz, plena, right. So this is my homage to that group.
Okay. Omanage.
Omenahe. Yeah.
We like homage. Homage.
Yeah, homage. Yeah, homage. Yeah, exactly.
You paid homage to the elders very well. I like that. I think that's a keeper.
Yeah,
That's definitely a keeper, man. I like that.
that's on the same record, Bright Eyes, and that track features Paquito de Rivera on it on the record.
That's a keeper. Beautiful.
Appreciate it, man.
Compositional skills, man. Victor Prolvost in the house.
Thank you, Dion. Thank you, man. It's a real pleasure. It is.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being on the show. We're gonna do one more. We have one more, but I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule, teaching at the 3 institutions that you're teaching at, and the many private students that you have, and the gigs that you not only doing with our band and all the other stuff you got going on, and the family, but just thank you for doing your part, because you've made a decision to be a contributor, and we talk about this all the time, and I love that, man. So appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any before we play this last song and get out of here, anything that you want to share with the audience? Any upcoming gigs, real quick?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there's always gigs, man. There's always stuff happening, but yeah, no, nothing that I'm like prepared to just go off the top on. So
okay,
just Victor Prolvost Music. That's how you find me. So
yes.
Instagram, Victor Prolvost Music. Facebook, Victor Prolvost Music. I don't do TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're doing it. Continue success, my brother, and thank you for being on the show. We're gonna play one more, and this is Pan
in A minor, featuring my friend Crystals Bacon on the beatbox.
His name?
His name is Crystals Bacon.
Crystals
Bacon. Yeah, that's right. He's a DC institution, man. He's a Grammy winner, and this cat can beatbox, play cavaquinho, speak Portuguese, and dance samba. He's a bad dude.
Check him out. Pan in A minor. I love it.
Man, my man.
Love it.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's some other stuff. Hey, kind of name minor, Victor Prolvost. Great way to end the show. Thank you very much for being on Sounds of the Diaspora. We're definitely going to follow up with, we got a couple other projects we're going to talk about, but
let's do it.
Again, continue success and doing what you're doing, and we really appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you, Dion. We'll see you soon, man.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you. That concludes this week's Sounds of the Diaspora with our special guest, Victor Prolvost. Join us next week as we have another talented guest coming to the show. Her name is Carol Thompson, and she's the queen of Lovers Rock. And if you don't know what Lovers Rock is, you're going to find out next week. Join us as we have Carol Thompson to the show. Thank you for joining us on Sounds of the Diaspora. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. Take care. Good night.
JBH Boutique Care offers you a unique exclusive membership in our nationwide concierge medical services network. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Judine Bontemps-Hill. I'm double board certified in family and obesity medicine. We pair exclusive personalized care with accessibility and convenience. A better way for you to receive immediate quality medical care. Whether at our main Orlando, Florida office, traveling across the U.S. or visiting the States, we bring you the best medical care without waiting for an appointment. Become a member today by calling 407-234-5282 or visit us online at jdhmeg1.com. JBH Boutique Care is proud to sponsor Sounds of the Diaspora, music and conversations with artists, and host Dion Parson every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Source TV Radio Network, WTSN, Washington, D.C.